All right, guys, quick practice test video here. Going to knock these problem outs. Hopefully it helps you, so watch closely. The first 7 problems, just factoring and all the different methods we did. Remember, the very first thing you need to look for anytime you factor is a GCF. So on this first one, I'm going to take out a 2 because they're all even. Actually, I should take a 2 in because they all have n's. That's going to leave me a 6n squared on that term, a 5n, and a 4. And I'm going to try slide, divide, slide here to see if I can factor it more. So I'm going to slide the 6 over with the 4, make that 24. And sure enough, you can factor that. And that's going to be n plus 8, n minus 3. And then don't forget, that's the slide part. Now you got to divide by the 6. It's going to take a minute. Reduce. The 8/6 actually reduces to 4/3. The 3/6 is really 1/2. And now to finish up, I'm just going to slide. So I'm going to slide this 3 back in front of the n. So make that 3n plus 4. I'm going to slide that 2 back in front of the n. I'll make it 2n minus 1. That's a lot of stuff, but that's the first one. Now don't forget, tomorrow you may take out a GCF, and that may be all you can do, and that's okay. Number 2, got 4 terms. Only one way to factor 4 terms. That's factor by grouping. So I'm going to group the first 2 together, take out an x squared. That leaves a 3x minus 1. The second 2, I can take out a 6. That also leaves a 3x minus 1. You should get the same thing in both parentheses there. And because you do, that the parentheses is now your GCF. So I'm going to pull out the 3x minus 1. And that's going to leave me with an x squared plus 6. Okay, that's all you can do. That's factor by grouping. Let's look at number 3. Number 3 is a straight up trinomial. So what I'm looking for here are the factors of 18 that add up to be negative 9. And what hits me first is that's going to be negative 6 and negative 3, and that's all you got to do. All right. I need to erase number 1 before I can get to number 4. Okay, number 4 is straight up, slide, divide, slide. So I'm going to slide the 2 to the 56, make it 112. Factor what you have. Now, factors of 112 are pretty hard, but there's a 9 in the middle, which means the 2 numbers you put in your parentheses must differ by 9. And I remember from class today, we did 16 and 7. All right, but you just need to play with those. But remember, they must differ by 9. Divide by the 2, so that's the slide divide part. Now, when I divide 16 divided by 2, I get 8. The second one, 7 divided by 2, does not work, so I'm going to slide the 2 back in front of the x and make it 2x minus 7. Number 5 is difference of squares. Anytime you have difference of squares, your answer is made up of conjugates. You take the square root of each term, the 3x and 5, and one's plus and one's minus. That gives you the negative 25. When you factor difference of squares, you use conjugates. Number 6 is cubes. Small, big, cube root, square, multiply, change the sign, square. And that's what you do for 6. Number 7, take out the GCF. Always looking for that GCF. GCF first here, take out the 6. That leaves a y squared minus 4, which happens to be a difference of squares. So I'm going to say y plus 2, y minus 2. And, that's all you do for that. But make sure you do both steps. Take out the GCF and finish factoring. Beginning at 8, you have equations. I think this is probably, you've done the equations so much in your lifetime. This is probably the easiest part of the test. Move the 7 over, make it plus 7. 29 plus 7 is 36. Divide by 6, and you get 6. Don't forget, on your test tomorrow, it's worth a minute to go through and check your answers. Number 9, same thing here. Move the 9 over. 15 minus 9 is 6x. Move the 14 over there. Boom's negative 18 is 6x. And divide by 6, you end up with negative 3. Again, check those answers. Number 10, you must start off using distributive properties. So I'm going to distribute the negative 2. Make sure you know it's negative 2, which makes it a negative 6y and a positive 10 equals 40. So it gives me 2y plus 10 is 40. Move the 10 over. If you do 40 minus 10, that's 30. Divide it by 2, you get 15. And again, check your answer. All right, 11, I think it's down here. There it is. 11, 12, and 13, you have to factor to solve it. So for 11, I'm trying to think of factors of 45. Negative 45, that would give me positive 4. So I'm going x plus 9 and x minus 5. And the reason it's plus 9 and minus 5 is because there's a positive 4 in the middle. So I get x. My 2 answers or whatever makes my parentheses equal 0, which is negative 9 and 5. Number 12. Let's go 12. 12 is a difference of squares. And your answer when you do difference of squares are conjugates. So you take the square root of each one. One's plus, one's minus. And you get 2 answers here. You get negative 9 and positive 9. Again, whatever makes the parentheses 0. Number 13, always start by factoring, start by taking out the GCF. So I'm going to take out the n, that leaves n minus 7. And now don't forget to write your answer, and there's always two answers here. So one answer is 7 because that's what makes the parentheses 0. So then it comes down to what makes that n 0? Well, if you put 0 in, it does. Anytime you have a little extra variable sitting outside your parentheses there, one of your solutions is going to be 0. All right, just did that one. Okay, 14, find the domain. Remember, when you have to worry about domain is when you have fractions, which this one has. So you always start with all x such that, and then you're going to tell what x cannot equal. And because you cannot have a 0 on the denominator, we're going to say, okay, x cannot equal 9. And that's it. That's all you do there. 15, the directions say simplify. That basically means put the fraction in lowest terms. So that means you got to factor. Remember, you can only cancel factors. Man, we've said that a lot this week. So take out a GCF off the top. Take a 4 out. That leaves x minus 2. Now the denominator has an x and an x minus 2. And then you can cancel out the x minus 2's, which leaves a 4 on the top and x on the bottom. That's it. Now 16, I think I messed up on this one when I put it on there, because what's going to happen when I factor my numerator, I do difference of squares to get x plus 2, x minus 2. When I factor the denominator, because I'm looking for factors of negative 5 that give me positive 4, which is negative 5 and positive 1. And what happens there is nothing cancels. All right, so because nothing cancels, you really can't do anything except that. So that's simplified because there's nothing else you can do. I would expect the one on the test, you could be able to cancel some things. 17 and 18 are both multiplication. Again, don't cancel it first. All right, you got a factor. You can only cancel factors. So I'm doing difference of squares on that first numerator because they both have square roots and there's a subtraction sign. My denominator, it says x minus y squared, which means there's 2 of those, x minus y's. The second one, there's nothing to factor. So now I'm looking for stuff to cancel. The only thing I see is the x minus y. So what that leaves me with for my solution is x plus y on my numerator. And on my denominator, I have 2 x minus y, so I'm just going to put x minus y squared. 18, same kind of deal. Going to factor as much as I can, cancel as much as I can. So my numerator is going to be x minus 7 and x plus 5. That's my numerator. The bottom, I'm taking out an x squared. If I pull out the x squared, it leaves me a 3x minus 2. That's the first fraction. Second fraction, again, GCF. I always start with GCF. I'm going to pull out a 4. That leaves 3x minus 2. And on my denominator, I'm pulling out a 7, which leaves an x plus 5. And I'm going to start canceling again. So x plus 5's cancel, 3x minus 2's cancel. So what that leaves me for my solution is, on my numerator, a 4 and an x minus 7 multiplied together. My denominator, I have a 7 and an x squared multiplied together. And that's it. 19. 19, again, this one's division, so I'm thinking keep, change, flip. So I'm going to keep the first one. But while I keep the first fraction, I'm going to go ahead and factor it. So I'm going to go small, big, cube root, square, multiply, change the sign, square. So that's the numerator of the first fraction. The denominator is difference of squares again. So I'm going y plus 1, y minus 1 on my denominator, times, okay, don't forget I'm flipping this one. This numerator right here, I can't factor that at all. There are no factors of 1 that add up to be 1. So I'm going to bring it to the bottom because remember I'm flipping that one. I'm going to take the denominator and make it my numerator, but I'm going to factor it. So I'm trying to think of what 2 factors of 1 add up to be 2, and it's 1 and 1. So I'm going to do y plus 1. Come on now. There we go. And y plus 1. And here I go. It's about to be messy, but I start canceling this stuff. The funny thing is that whole thing cancels with that whole thing. The y minus 1's cancel. The y plus 1 cancels with that y plus 1. So the only thing that's left is one of the y plus 1's on the top. So there it is. Right, number 20. Number 20, actually easier than 19, believe it or not, which is kind of crazy. But here again, man, this so much. That's another difference of squares. So doing conjugates, m plus n, m minus n. My denominator, r plus s, times. Now, here we go here. Keep, change, flip. There's nothing to factor, so I'm just going to flip this one. And again, I'm looking for factors I can cancel. R plus s is out of here. M plus n's out of here. The only thing that leaves is an m minus n in my numerator. So there's my answer right there. M minus n. Not too bad. 2 more. 21, interval notation. I have 5 and 12 here. X is between 5 and 12, so I'm going to put the 5 and 12 with a comma separating them. And because the 5 has no equal sign, it gets a parentheses. The 12 does have an equal sign. It's getting the bracket. That's not a bracket. That's a bracket. That's exactly what it should look like. If you need to draw the graph to do that, that's okay. The graph will look like 5 with an empty circle, 12 with the filled-in circle, and you're going to shade in between. And the last one, x minus 4 squared. Okay, remember our shortcut. Square, multiply, double, square. Square, multiply, double, square. So I'm going to square the x. I'm going to multiply these two numbers together and double it. And I'm going to square the 4, make it positive 16. That's it. Now, if you need to, I hope you don't, but if you do need to, you can always take that x minus 4, write it twice, and do FOIL and get the same thing. But I think you're going to be happier as yours goes along if you can do square, multiply, double, square really fast. All right, so hope that helps you. Watch them as many times as you need to. You can obviously go back and forth on these problems as much as you need. I'll see you in class tomorrow. Can't wait. It's Friday. Go Vols. See ya.